Today we're going to go over the topic because I'm seeing this more and more. If you're an entrepreneur that's staying consistent, that's posting all the time, that can compounds posts and then posts and posts and posts. Um, if you're that kind of folk and you just aren't seeing the results, today is the meeting for you. We're going to go over the three traps we're going to seek with consistency, and we're going to go over some ideas to kind of help. Sorry, so the three things that I'm seeing on a consistent basis throughout social media and so forth. One is posting without feedback. You just post and post and post, and you have all this great content, and it's coming out all the time, but you're not seeing anybody interacting or doing with it. There's such saturation in the space. You go to LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. There's so many people posting so many things that it's sometimes hard to get people to interact and do some things with the stuff you're posting, even if it's diamonds. So one of the ideas I have is, and this actually happened to me this morning, interactive with your posts. Try to select some real life situations. Actually, a CRM guy, Brandon, this morning on LinkedIn, he and I had a discussion via email, and then he made a post that went along with the questions I was asking. And it wasn't anything embarrassing or anything crazy. So he was fine sharing it. And he even asked if it was okay to share it via post. And it was. I was just asking him some questions about CRM stuff. And so he posted it and he tagged me. Hey, Billy, this inspired me today. The conversation you and I had. And that brings people into the conversation. You're already automatically getting some kind of interaction from people because you're dragging them into the conversation. You're saying, hey, the thing that happened to us, which wasn't embarrassing, that I have your permission to share, here's what everybody needs to know about CRMs. Or if you're in solar panels or in financing or in lending or whatever you're in, if you have a good conversation, share it. Because if the person's okay sharing it, tag them, bring them into the conversation. Likely other people will have that same problem, same question, same issue. And the interaction, the back and forth just draws attention naturally. So there's a problem, posting, posting, posting without any feedback, and a possible idea, creating your own feedback, creating your own interaction, tagging people with it naturally. So there's one. The second one I see all the time is clarity and serving all. So people post things and it's just anybody and everybody. Like that's not going to work. You're not going to, whatever it is you're doing, serving, selling is not going to be good for one and all and everybody. It's just not the way it is. So one of the ideas that I've had and I've done over the while is make sure you have a very specific niche, very specific person in mind, and have a framing question. It draws their attention. They may not necessarily click on it. They may not necessarily comment and things, but make sure you call them out specifically. So the example we have here, are you tired of paying for cold leads? You have a very, very specific person in mind. You have a framing question or you have a framing statement that way they are drawn in. They also have the same problem. They always have the same issue. And you know they do because that's the audience you're trying to reach. You're not trying to serve all. I'm specifically serving people that are tired of paying for cold leads. And you can make a variety of framing questions. If you have some people you know that are not saving enough money, if you have some people who are thinking about buying their first house, there's lots of different audiences, but you can make those posts very niche and very intriguing so they'll at least slow down and read what you have to say. So that's what another clarity issue and a framing question is another one I see. Another issue I sometimes see is activity without any follow-up. Like you have something out there that's going and it doesn't create much conversation. It doesn't really go where you want it to go. So my idea, my thought, my advice is be sure that you have a clear value add, right? And you have to think about whether your value add is actually hitting its mark, right? So if you have an audience and you're a lender, and you know that if you start that conversation with, hey, let's set up a one-on-one meeting, that you're going to be talking about housing and people aren't going to be interested in housing, but you still want to have those meetings and you still want to sit down with people. Make sure you frame it that you're adding value to their life. The idea is your value add needs to be more interactive, has to be more on one-on-one. Like, who do you need to know? How can I help you grow your business? What things can I do to help you connect other people? When you start framing that one-on-one, your value add is something that will help their business, not something that's going to help build your business. You attract more people. Like, hey, who I know so and so, who wants to meet? Who do you need to know? Let's set up a meeting. I want to know more about your business. When you start selling right away, or I'm an expert on this, it doesn't always get the results you need. You have to be sure you're giving first and then giving, giving, giving. And on the back end, maybe 5, 10, 8 months later, eventually you'll get the reciprocity that you need. But if you got to give first and you got to reframe that So it takes down those barriers because they're going to be afraid to sit down with you most of the time because you're going to sit down and talk lending, you're going to talk real estate, you're going to talk whatever it is, and they don't want to have those meetings. But they do want to have meetings where they get to talk about their business the entire time. And for you, it's worth it to sit down and talk about their business the entire time and just ask questions and don't push your business at all. Is a solid meeting because they know, like, and start trusting you because you're a listener and you're adding value to their business. So there you go. Three quick ones. Like I said, I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking. I want to just kind of go over some ideas, some tips, and then yeah, see, only 6 minutes. I think just like I promised. Have we got some any Q&As? We toss some questions if you have any or situations in there. I can answer some questions.